Oh, here we go. Howdy ho, neighboronies. I'm Ryan, and tonight we are going to be as gay as possible, discussing what led us to become atheists on the worldly perspective. We're happy and we know it. And I'm going to pass you over to the happiest over here, Dr. Time Waster. What the heck was
that surprised me.
I prefer the close-in angle.
Dun dun dun. That's what I heard in my head as it zoomed in.
The surprised hamster from 10 years ago on the internet. I forgot the title of it.
Anyways, hi everybody. Thanks for joining us. Tonight we wanted to do something super fun but lazy. Because that's just how we're rolling. If you guys weren't aware, this weekend is Easter, or some point someday around this time. But if you don't really believe in that and you don't really want to celebrate Easter, or if you're a Jehovah's Witness, ex-Jehovah's Witness, and you've never celebrated Easter, I have something more fun for you to do. There is a convention called the Atheist Convention that's going on this week. It's starting right now. I think they're doing it in Philadelphia right now. Is that correct? Are you going, Pam? You said you were going to go. Maybe. Okay.
I'm not feeling the greatest, so I'm not sure. It depends how I feel.
We'll pray for you.
Yeah, pray for me.
But we've gone the last 2 times together. That's how we met.
I know, and I'm like, oh my god, it's like right down the street, so I really need to go. So hopefully we'll see. I don't know. Anyway, on that note.
Why I brought it up is because it is a fun gathering of like-minded people who really only have one thing in common, and that is that they don't believe in God. And so we gather at the Atheist Convention. It moves around every year in a different city. And you get to meet a lot of really fun and cool people. You get to see a bunch of different ideas and concepts and realize that not all atheists are the same.
What?
So I wanted to plug it. Because I'm not going to get to go this year, and I'm really upset.
Don't you know that atheism is a religion?
Yes.
It's all the same.
It's a different world. It's just a different worldview. Just your belief. You have a belief.
We all believe the same things.
And we every Sunday we drink of what's his name?
Jesus? I don't know.
No, you know
Christopher Hitchens.
Christopher Hitchens. We eat of his body and drink of his blood. Or eat of his flesh.
Symbolism.
Yes.
Yep.
Atheist shunning.
Do atheists shun? Well, so now we're coming back to it. Is atheism a religion? That's a good question. How do you make a religion when everybody has a completely different idea of what it means?
It's not a religion. You can form your own.
What is a religion?
You can form a religion on anything. I could be an atheist and not believe in a deity, but I could also believe that this mug here is my ultimate person that I should worship and serve. And then we all gather around this mug and we do rituals. And you put money in it.
So I've heard some people say Buddhism isn't a religion because they're not worshiping a god.
They're not? I didn't realize that. What?
I would never ever say such a bold thing without learning more about it. But my point it seems to be a debated topic that people want to carve in and carve out what religion is. Are they saying, well, if you're not worshiping a deity that you truly believe
sports are only allowed,
could that be a religion?
Could be.
I mean, I think so. I don't see why a deity is necessary in order for something to be considered a religion. But I guess
it's just that
what is religion?
Again, they just like they did for quite a number of times. They tainted the word atheism till it just sounded bad just to even hear it. Just hearing the word atheist was always tagged with just the worst of the worst. You're a terrible person, the murders and all that things. And but ironically, they've done the same to religion. Like they've done the thing. They're the thing that they say that atheist is. They're doing everything they talk about, and they put it on like, I believe, but
it could be possible they're basing it off of the wrong things then, and what they're defining as atheism are just things they don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe,
but they tainted the word so much so that even people won't even call themselves. You see them, they always pop up. Well, you're agnostic then. Like, stop.
I'm actually agnostic atheist.
Yes, that makes sense.
Sometimes I'm agnostic theist, but it doesn't last long, and it's usually after quite a bit of alcohol. So sometimes that's what I am as well.
You're on a road to start a new religion.
To answer the question, one of the questions in the chat, does the atheist convention get picketed? And I would say no. And if you're imagining the times, at least there was a big string of time in the area where I went to Jehovah's Witness conventions as a kid, and there were like people picketing outside the convention saying like ex Jehovah's Witness kind of stuff. Did that happen to any of you guys who went?
Never saw that.
I think I saw it once.
Okay. Maybe it's because of where it was kind of like in the Seattle area. And so maybe because it was in that area, it was unique. But anyways, that's what I thought. That's what I pictured when he asked, "Is it picketed?" Whatever.
Oh, by the reverse, though.
So was it in Seattle area when you were a kid?
The Jehovah's Witness, the big conventions that they'd have, and they'd pack everybody in them big domes and stuff. Yeah,
right.
But like a couple every year, and then after the years it dwindled, and we just didn't look at it. Right? It was just you walk past it and you don't look at any of the signs, don't read them.
The big convention that I went to as a child was in Memphis, and that would have been the late 90s and early 2000s, and never did see anybody picketing ever in Memphis.
Well, so at the atheist convention there were
what happened?
The food started looking good finally.
Which is like, wait, what did I do?
More, sir.
Sorry.
So the last two, I've only been to two. They were the last 2 years, and when we were in Phoenix, there were Jehovah's Witnesses that were like on every corner with their little carts, just really passive aggressively standing there every morning. And it tickled a lot of people to go out there. I think R and Raw kind of went out there and was like, "You believe in Noah's Ark?" Bless him. If you're not familiar who R and Raw is, hilarious.
Ironically, he looks like the Undertaker.
He does. But the Undertaker, I love everything about him. I love
the Undertaker is religious.
Okay, then he looks like Mad Eye Moody. I don't know.
Ra is the atheist Undertaker.
Awesome.
Yeah. but the actual Undertaker is actual devout Christian.
Right. So that would make sense for an Undertaker to be religious.
Would.
Anyways, the theme of today, in honor of the Atheist Convention, in honor of Easter coming up, is atheism. And so we're going to find out if everyone on this panel is an atheist and why they are, if they are, and why they're not, if they're not. So who wants to go first? Who wants to admit whether or not they're an atheist?
I will happily admit that I'm an atheist.
You will. And you volunteered then.
I am volunteering.
Why? How? What happened?
Why? All right.
Did God tell you?
Basically, my process is my own, and I don't necessarily agree with all the things that originally made me change my mind now. But the reason why is nobody can give me a definition of God so far in my life that I think sounds logical in any way, or has any possible way of being tested. Most definitions of God I've heard are supernatural, and there's no way to prove it. The only real exemption to this is apologetics for whatever religion. Usually Christian apologetics is what I'm used to. But no, I don't find any apologetics arguments to be satisfying. um, and yeah, so that's really what it comes down to. Like, what is God? I'm willing to believe in anything that you can prove to me. So just tell me what God is
I
and
think
show me the evidence for it, and I will believe. And those two things have not happened, and that's why I'm an atheist. Go ahead, brother.
I don't like the term believe in.
Yeah,
I
I know. There's
Oh,
people
I
use
just
well,
that
what,
term different.
Dobsepper, why don't you tell me what your definition of atheism is, and then we'll all say what our definition of it is.
Yes, my definition of atheism is somebody that lacks the belief in a God. It is not somebody that um, believes for a fact there is no God. It is just somebody that just does not actively believe a God exists.
Is that all?
That's all for me.
Okay. Anyone else? Well, that
That's pretty much
satisfies
all for
my
me.
definition. I don't really define it beyond that.
I was
Anything
just
else
gonna say
that
that's
I
it.
want to attribute to my beliefs is going to be about in those individual beliefs. But if we're talking about a deity that's watching us, that's omnipotent, omnipresent, who's involved in our lives, could I believe that there is? Sorry, I'm talking. Yes,
No,
that's my
no,
definition. My turn. Oh, wait for my turn.
No, keep
you
going.
might as well
Keep
go ahead and
going.
have your
no,
turn
that's
now.
no.
You're
Keep
cooking.
going.
You're cooking.
No,
Go ahead
oh,
and
I'm
go and
not. I'm
serve up the
sorry, y'all. I'm
meal.
not looking at the comments. Sorry.
But as a
Whose turn was it?
definition, of God, then, if I could believe there are aliens that have more power than us, or could control us, or that there's that there's some other things out there beyond our human understanding and existence. But is it this any God that anybody ever claims that they worship as true? I've never seen. I've never. I can't believe those things are real. So I would define it as gods. What people think of gods.
But
All right.
I'm willing to entertain the idea of it though.
Oh,
Of
sure.
it
Why
being
not?
like an alien kind of form.
But I'm not promising I'm going to
Different.
worship anything,
Oh yeah,
even if it did.
I think the worst part is the rituals more than
Right.
anything.
Like, I'm not committed to it, but I'm willing to see if there's something out there. I'm curious.
I'm not going to church every Sunday and giving you money.
Don't hit the
I
like button, guys.
yeah, do not hit the like button. That
We don't deserve
it's
it. We're not worthy.
it is against the
We're
law on
sinning
this
right
channel.
now.
Hitting the like button is against the law on this channel. You will go to jail.
How about
I wanted to say that
Did I click this?
the wait, damn, I just lost the train of thought. I'm sure
That's
it'll come
Is
back
it
in a
something
second.
about aliens being
probably the
gods?
devil?
Our definition of what a god is that anything to do with that?
Committing to
Um,
worship something just because it exists and is more powerful than me.
Right.
It has something to do with the definition of God, I think, but I forgot what we were just talking about exactly. Dang, it was gonna be good.
We're supposed to have unconditional love for God, but he has very conditional love for us. According
Sounds
to
like an abuser.
Oh, I remember now. I will go
It's
further. I will go further, and I will argue everybody will to say that it's not unreasonable to actively believe a God doesn't exist as well. Not just any God in general, but a specific God. And you can probably all immediately think of some specific God you can prove doesn't exist. A good one is Zeus. He's
Oh,
supposed to be responsible for lightning.
I'm more inclined to believe in Zeus than the Christian God.
Right, I'm getting there.
Right.
But I mean, if
Sounds
you
pretty
want
badass.
if you want to say that
And a
Zeus
dick.
doesn't exist because we know that lightning doesn't come from God, but it comes from electricity in the sky caused by the weather, then you can, by the same extension, say we know that Yahweh or Jehovah does not exist
Oh my god.
because Yahweh or Jehovah created life, human life, from dirt through magic, and we know that life evolved over many, many years. So we can, for the same reason, disbelieve in that specific God if you want to use that type of logic to do so.
I have questions for you, but well, my questions are: you've listed off several beliefs that you do have, in just kind of talking about your definition. I don't know, we really only define the definition of atheism as not believing in a God, but then you kind of started also talking about reasons why you're convinced
You know
of
what I'm
the
saying? If I
of
want to
the
go beyond
opposite.
that, yes,
Right.
if I want to go beyond that, I could, but that is
Okay.
not what atheism is.
Okay, I just
Certified.
wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Right.
Anything else you want to say about what got you to being feeling like you wanted to say or identify with being an atheist?
I mean, that's really it. I mean,
When I figured out it was
trying figured out was what.
figured out everything's a sham. The Bible, everything. It's all just
Your world was shattered.
It was a reality check for sure, but it was a necessary reality check for me.
Do you feel like it all came down all at once, or do you think it came down in pieces? Like,
ooh, goodness gracious me, oh my. I don't know. I don't even know what is happening.
I mean, it's always gonna still come down in pieces a little bit, because I don't think it all can come down at once. You probably have a psychotic break.
Yeah, I think the pieces came down kind of just like the reality hit me that it was all a lie, but it kind of needed all the like different pieces to fall to really kind of grasp the reality of it, I think. So, at least for me, anyhow.
I know that I didn't really feel like I connected with the Jehovah's Witness religion. It was the first thing that I experienced, but then it was later that I had epiphanies about
that comment.
My belief in God in general, and when it felt like a house of cards that first day, but that was really just the first big piece, and then the rest of it came over the course, really over the next year. That piece by piece over the course of a year, where I totally lose that belief in God and come to terms with it.
Yeah, you gotta come to terms with it. It's like ending a relationship, any kind of relationship, whether it's death or whatever.
You know that comment where they said Scientology woke me the F up big time?
What did it for you?
No, it didn't really do it, but boy, was it a letdown. Because I had never even heard of Scientology before, probably 2009, maybe 2009. So when I saw it, and I was already like a 9, I said, "Oh, science, okay, there's science in it." So I was so in my mind, I thought it was more intellectual and a logical type thing.
I did too.
And then, I used to, because I used to drive by the Scientology church, and I've been making, I'm gonna go there one day. That looks like there go my people are in there.
Imagine they like sat around and read primary literature and discussed it in like really like high level critical thinking and pondered physics and mathematics and
I kind of thought that was
when
what
I
was
found
happening.
out what it really
That.
was, I was so disappointed. Like I was like,
No, and they
oh,
really take a lot of money too. Like they put people in real debt. Like they make people pay like
Oh,
20K for all these books and educational
oh,
videos and da 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 da
oh.
da.
That's starters 20K.
Oh my god, right? And like people get in
Interesting.
really bad debt for it.
People
And I'm like,
they charge people go 7 figures in on Scientology regularly. Going 8 figures in is not unheard of on Scientology. Just going up in the levels of the religion, um, because I don't know. That's what they're looking for. That's how you get promoted. That's how Tom Cruise is at the top. He makes so much good money.
he is just a puppet on a string.
so
I
disappointed.
hear he has a lot
Riley
of
cast in
influence.
every movie he's ever been in, though.
And he does his own stunts.
Does do his own
I
stuff.
mean, I don't mean that he doesn't have a lot of pull. I just mean that he also is a mouthpiece for an organization as well. Like,
Yeah, they have a movie star.
Yeah,
yeah,
I think he's kind of
what they gotta
50,
like.
I think he's kind of 50-50 with the Scientology founder, or not founder, but the son that is in charge of
catalog.
Scientology, whatever his last name is. I think Tom Cruise is
You talking about L. Ron
kind of
Hubbard, like
Yeah.
his family member or something?
Made up, but
not L. Ron Hubbard. It's a guy that was recently, or not recently, but several years ago on Joe Rogan.
But
His son took over for L. Ron Hubbard or something.
but what's so damaging about? I think Scientology is the most just like, man, because it's not like, at least with the other stuff, they have hundreds. It goes all the way back, way back in time. This Scientology is recent, and people recently got into that. With the, I said, like, wait, you believe that?
And new cults start all the time.
All
You
the
think
time.
that it's
New
wild
doesn't
how
mean it
people-
doesn't have the answers.
David Miscavige.
No,
That was
no,
the name I was thinking of. Sorry.
not at all. I could definitely start a cult, and I have all the answers. So yeah, sure. Look out
That's
for that.
right.
Coming in
Tyler,
2025.
you're doing like a fallacy of just because it's old, it's more socially acceptable, and therefore it's not as weird, right?
And-
It's like,
No.
when you think about like Catholicism, it's weird, but it's old.
No, but I mean like because of the lack of technology, you can see why a person would believe the things they were told back then, because you didn't have the technology to investigate. But Scientology came out when we had most of the answers that you couldn't really answer, and they just start making up new questions. And now is what's that thing they do? Some weird thing they do. They check your meter or something. It's just I'm really disappointed. I really thought I was going to join that.
Are they the reason you now believe you're, or do you? We didn't hear your atheism declaration, sir. Are you, or are you not?
Do you not deny?
No, are you? Do you consider yourself an atheist, and do you like have a different definition of atheism, a definition that differs from what we already talked about?
No, he pretty much summed it up.
Okay.
I just don't think about it as much. I don't know, because my story is different from y'all. Y'all came up really knee deep into it, and I came up kind of
don't believe. Are you convinced there is a God?
No. Like at the very least, definitely not the one they're talking about.
Were you born atheist?
Weren't we all?
I mean, that's a good argument, right?
I believe we all were.
Would we know anything about Jehovah and what Jehovah wants if somebody didn't teach us? We literally.
I'm a prime example. I'm a prime example. I didn't dive into religion until I realized I was atheist. I didn't even bother with it was a non-factor in my life. It didn't impede on none of the things I needed to do because I didn't grow up in a religious family, and nobody talks about religion, and nobody cares if you believe or not. It's your own personal thing that you deal with. You don't have to. You don't have to discuss it. My mom doesn't discuss my belief with me. My sister, she's a believer. We have a great conversation, and she was not. She like, oh, she when I told her, she said, oh, we figured, like, we figured that's what you would be. It's like, oh, okay. So we don't even talk about that.
You seem very laid back. So if your family's anything like you, I would assume maybe they're the same way.
Yeah, emotionally damaged.
Oh man. Okay. Well,
that's a spectrum of every family ever. So
nah, they're pretty chill, man. Everybody's pretty laid back, you know.
Because you didn't feel like it would be detrimental to your relationship with your family members if you said you were an atheist?
No, because I wouldn't even have to tell them because there's no need to. The conversations of my belief never comes up. We don't talk about religion with each other. That's because my grandma was my grandma, even though she talked about it sparingly with us or maybe like in things like that, but her like she never went to church a day. I've never seen her go to church, and her motto was I can read my own Bible. And it's like, oh, okay. And I don't think she knew by doing that. like, I say, you're raising an atheist right now. Because I was free to because when I was going to church, I went maybe a couple times with my mom, but then it was just me just going with my friends, and my family wasn't going to church. I was just going with them because I thought that's just everybody was just doing church. And I said, okay, everybody doing church. I didn't know y'all was doing all that extra stuff. I thought it was like Seven Heaven. I assumed it was like. That's right. I used to watch Touched by Angel. I just assumed it was like, oh yeah, Touched by Angels. That's probably how it is. I just assumed that's what it was. And then when you get out here, and it's like, oh, that's what y'all do.
You mean like that's what you thought other people who were going to church were doing? Like
yeah.
When you thought of Christians, you thought of that
in my mind, I thought, oh, if you're in trouble, you can run to a church for sanctuary. Right. I didn't know if they doing other stuff inside of there. Like, oh, that ain't the sanctuary. That's the trap. But I still had like a inkling, I guess, an inkling of belief in a God. But it was always this different. Totally was a different version than what it actually was. And then when I think I went to church, I think I was like maybe 19 or 20. No, I was about 19, and I met this chaplain on base. And no, I went to church. What'd they say?
The comment.
Bro, were there two witnesses when you were touched by an angel? If not, it doesn't count.
Okay.
You know, sometimes you just gotta laugh at the terrible things.
Oh, brother.
Well, sorry.
And this is how
I couldn't help it.
Now, mind you, at this point in time, I'm not thinking about anything. I'm just living my life, having fun, sinning apparently. But then I went to the Navy and I went to boot camp. Like Sunday was like the chill day, and you know, you just go to church just to get away from people yelling at you and kind of relax a little bit. And I think I went to like two times. I went to the chapel, but I remember being there and just listening to it. And I remember like, I said like, man, this seems oddly specific for boot camp. Like, it was like the sermon was boot camp themed. I said like, man, this is weird. So I stopped going, and then I got out, and I went to my first duty station, and I met this chaplain. He invited me to the church. I went to the church. I went like two. I tried to get involved, but it's just like it just wasn't clicking. And then one time I went, I was just sitting in the back. I just said like, nah, I'm not gonna go anymore. And then I just never went. And then I just stopped going. And then I never thought about it until I met my now wife, who was all about the church. And then that was the first time I ever really sat in a church and actually just heard what was being said. And I think when I heard the Jonah and the whale story, I just said that was
believe in it.
That's when I went. I said like, no, something. Like this just it felt as uncomfortable. It felt as uncomfortable as it did as a kid.
Torturing him in the belly of a whale by keeping him alive for 3 days.
Yeah. And then after going to church day in and day out every Sunday, and I was just like, oh, this is. I said, how do you keep going to this? What's the point of this? Because I was at the point like I get it. Like I get it. I don't understand why you got to keep going. like
if I memorize this shit, can I stop going to the meetings? Because if I can just like, if I can pull it out of my head, can I just like use my time doing something else? Because I get it. I got it.
I watched so many people. The funny thing to me, the weird part for me was watching people. It was like every Sunday, it was like the first time they ever heard the stuff before. And I'm like, why are y'all like, how do y'all not get this by now? Y'all been going here for, some of these people going for like 30, 40 years. And I'm like, well, what's the point of keep going? And then I remember when I told the wife, I said, I'm going to let you know now, I'm an atheist. And then she slowly followed suit and then we thought it was me doing it, but it turned out she had never really paid attention to it either, because when I was diving and things, she had no answers for anything. I said, she said she never knew it. She didn't know anything about nothing.
You're fed information, you're fed stories, and you never think to really read through and ask questions and connect dots.
So it made her realize, I said,
that don't make sense.
And Joan, because she says one time, she said, I miss how church used to be before you, because I would just point out everything.
Church great again?
Yeah, make church great again. Because she said she missed I guess she was at the time missing that ignorant bliss where you're just not aware of all the craziness. And then now I still go down to the church just to help out, but I don't actively believe in a deity. I mean, I'm more, like I told Dobstop, I'm more willing to accept Zeus. I'm more willing to accept Thor. It just sounds, hey, look who it is.
Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you guys.
Oh my God, I'm delighted.
It's that guy. It's the guy from the documentary.
Cheers.
Wait, which documentary?
I don't remember. Is there
what's that
like
other one?
Popular one or famous one that's out? Maybe on Amazon or something?
I haven't seen it.
Not that one. The debunking one. What was it called? Shiny. The dude, mom, who's doing it. Somebody saw that? I feel like he was tagged in.
Is this a bit or
no? I feel like he was tagged. He was. I saw him in the video.
We never know.
I saw him in the video. Okay. Maybe
well, welcome. Thank you. I wasn't sure if you were going to join, and I didn't want to, I didn't want to get everybody's hopes up. So we have another guest.
Hi.
Orange Radish on TikTok is how I know you.
Or Chad Harris now because the cat's out of the bag.
I think the documentary kind of blew that out of the water.
That's right.
Yeah, a little bit. There went anonymity.
Yay! Yeah. If anybody wants to, get super triggered, no, I was kidding. No, but really, I love all the documentaries that are coming out, but they are all super triggering, at least in some way or shape or form. But I'm so glad you did it, and I'm really glad that we're all here to tell our stories, and I'm gonna assume you're an atheist, or do you? That's what we're talking.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Oh, okay, good. You're welcome then. No, I'm just kidding.
Which is why I have FOMO about AACon, right now, and I wish I could be there.
No, we're all having FOMO about AACon. I take it you are also not able to attend this year.
Nah, I just had a bunch of life stuff come up, and I was just like, yeah, I'm going to have to pump up the old savings a little bit and everything. Weirdly enough, my car got stolen 3 days after the documentary aired, which was just completely unrelated. And I was like, well, okay, on the list of things I didn't see coming, that
was the
toward the top.
Duggars.
Yeah, you know what? It might have been. So it's just been one thing after another this past year.
Let's clarify which documentary. What's the title?
It was, in fact, Shiny Happy People. It was about the Duggars of ex-teen kids and counting on TLC and the cult that they were in. I was raised in the same cult, and I basically complained about it for 4 episodes, along with a lot of my friends.
Are you in Arkansas?
I am not. I'm in Alabama, but the cult itself was worldwide. It went a lot further than people thought.
Gotcha. Yeah, I had no idea.
Those
I
principles.
didn't think it was that widespread.
Oh yeah, it was.
When I see that documentary, it reminds me of those kids. Those kids I used to know. I said, man, they weren't just like that. It was a little different.
Oh yeah. Let me guess. We were the Mormons. We're the Mormon-looking ones that had the white shirts and the dark pants. We literally did that for every seminar. That was a whole thing. But yeah, white dress shirts and dark pants, and it was totally different though because ours were navy blue. So yeah.
What was the church called again?
Well, it was actually more of a parachurch thing. IBLP. It was the Institute in Basic Life Principles. It was a non-denominational cult. Basically, a lot of people attended church and followed this weird dude's teachings on the side, and my family did as well. My dad was actually a preacher with his own church, and we still followed it.
I was thinking about when you said institute. All I could think about was Dale Gribble when he told Hank, he said it's a cult. It's institute.
Yeah. Y'all with the cult? We're not a cult. This is it. Yeah.
That's good.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us. This is awesome. So welcome to the Apostate Coalition, where we are all from various cults and we just hang out all the time and talk about ex-culty things.
Not all.
You're from a different cult. Trying to join
us. Weird. You're different.
We're recruiting him right now.
Yeah. He's gonna get baptized by the end of this.
I don't like to brag about it or nothing but when you grow up,
it's magic.
Just free from. But just to let y'all know, us regular people thought y'all was having a great time. You could. Oh, they look happy over there. They smiling all the time, having a great time over there.
I feel like some people are having a great time. Some are having a great time.
Especially the ones that are doing that can adjust to the way they want to adjust, and they're benefiting from it. But if you not adhering to whatever thing you're with, of course it's gonna suck.
Not to mention the people running it; they have the best time.
Oh yeah, especially when you get to choose the rules.
Well, and if people's beliefs are just comforting, but could possibly, be harmful, maybe a little bit, but it's more comforting to do it, is that palliative religion, like hospice religion, where we just focus on comfort care and not really the fact that it's not helping you out here.
I felt like I was dying for 20 years, so yeah, that tracks.
It doesn't sound comfortable though. But believing in it just purely because not believing in it, or maybe confronting the fact that you're not sure if it's real or true, is more, there's an aversion to it because it's more harmful, or it makes you feel bad, or it's hard to it's more comfortable to just believe it. Oops.
It is. It is.
For some people, absolutely.
I mean, I have a lot of family members that still say, they still feel or say that they deeply believe. And like I just remember asking one of my family members, like, but really, like, you really believe Adam and Eve? Like, you really believe Noah's Ark?
Right.
And they said yes. And I was like, okay, all right.
Genuinely.
We'll move on. Because I don't really
what do you do with somebody?
That? Like, if they
since I was a kid, I kind of like when they like when you think about like evolution, like I had the very basic evolution thing. Oh, monkey then man, just the basic. But even with the basic, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. It felt like it made sense. I was like, you looked at. I was like, I can see how it got here. It's familiar. And then the first time I ever went to a zoo, and I looked at the chimpanzee and they're doing stuff, I said, like, I can see it. I can see. You can see it. It's something about you. Something about you is familiar. And then when you see that naked chimpanzee, it's like, oh, that dude.
What the?
Oh, I didn't give you the context.
What about the red baboon butt?
We've all seen it.
This is the zoo after dark. You gotta pay attention.
What are we talking about? You're looking at naked chimpanzees.
I'm in a hairless chimp. They're already naked. A hairless chimp.
And we saw one at AACon in Atlanta. Speaking of which, one of the biggest things, during my deconstruction, when I finally got caught up on all the evolution stuff I wasn't taught, I actually learned it from a very well done exhibit from the university, or not the university, but the Museum of Natural History in DC, part of the Smithsonian. And they had a really good whole wing dedicated to evolution and the evidence for it and everything. And I'm eating it up. And the people, my friends I was with who grew up in this, were so bored, but I was just like, this is great shit. And at the very, very end, I noticed that the entire exhibit had been funded by the Koch brothers, who, for those of you who don't know, also support Focus on the Family and a bunch of evangelical think tanks and stuff. And I'm just like, now, isn't that interesting? I'm like, these guys are fossil fuel magnets, so they should know this, and they do support it. But they also support the people who don't believe in it so they can have more power. If that just doesn't show you. But I remember thinking, I was like, okay, well, they believe in it, and, they're the bad guys. So there you go.
Tells you a lot. Says something, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Well, they specifically believe in, the Koch brothers believe in the cult stuff that you were raised in.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the name of
that? They don't believe specifically in that, that far and everything, but they support groups who do. So for example, they support, Hobby Lobby and the Focus on the Family, James Dobson and all that, because they're very big political power players, and that ends up benefiting the fossil fuel industry for obvious reasons. So yeah.
Gotcha.
This is like a multiverse crossover right now.
Pretty much.
The JWs crossing over with your thing. Now we got to pull in somebody else. Where it's always weird. From my mind, I keep forgetting that everybody is something different, and it's just weird. Like, oh, y'all was totally they were the JWs doing something. You was over there doing something else, and I think a couple other people was doing Mormon stuff. It's like,
I'd say we need one of our ex-Mormon friends in here right now.
And it's all the same story. It's with different details,
flair.
Different flares and details, but it's the same borderline thing.
And the one I was in wasn't even a good story. I just had to go. I had no choice.
Yeah, we were just forced. We were conscripted to do it. There was no choice about it. You had to believe, and if you didn't, something was wrong with you.
There was a couple of good stories in my book of Bible stories, though. There was a couple I liked in there for the first 2 or 3 years of my life, and then the next 10 years sucked.
Yeah, I used to love reading my book. I didn't know any better, so I used to like to read it. But yeah, pretty terrible book.
The children's the children's book of the Bible, basically.
Yes,
The My Book of Bible Stories.
It's the action Bible for Jehovah's Witnesses.
I know nothing of the Bible really. I've never read it. I've tried to read it, but it is just the like I can read it and be like and find like, oh, this is interesting. And I like hearing, sometimes I listen to sermons because I like hearing the stories because they just sound interesting. But then it's like, oh, people think this is real. Like, oh, this is.
But like I thought that about like Santa Claus, like I was the kid in school who didn't believe in Santa Claus, but believed I was a Christian who believed in the one true religion. But I didn't want to ruin anybody else's fun, so I didn't go around telling them, well, this shit's not real, right?
You sure about that?
Yeah, my sister shattered that early. He said Santa Claus ain't real.
I was telling old people that Santa wasn't real.
Yeah, good.
Because I was that little evangelist.
That looks familiar.
I hadn't been homeschooled. I would have had my head flushed down so many toilets. I'm telling you.
That looks familiar.
Yeah, that's
like I think for that. I did spend like maybe a couple times going to the Jehovah's Witness church.
You probably saw.
And I remember that probably was the most. That's probably why I remember it, because it probably was the most interesting thing about being there, because everything else sucked.
This is the rape story where we shame the victim and not.
wait.
I know the story just by looking at the picture. I'm like, oh yeah, this is the one that really pissed me off. And I was like,
I'm over here. I'm like, man, this is really great.
My cult did the same thing. Seriously, that they presented it as if she hadn't have gone out by herself, wanted to go with her friends and all that, that would have never happened. Yeah.
Wait, are we talking about Ruth right now?
Oh, Dinah.
No, Dinah.
The only stories with women in are probably when they're getting abused. So,
yeah, there's usually some kind of twist where something not good had. It's always at the expense of a woman.
Turning into salt.
Yeah.
See,
like goodness gracious.
Like when I say it out loud and just.
And then Lot's daughters, we don't even really know their names. It's like, what's
this where salt comes from?
I'm trying to,
yeah.
When I hear those things, my mind immediately goes to try to believe it, but it just like no. You know what? It's salt.
My mind works.
Turned around, looked at salt. Like why?
I look at it a little differently now. Now I go back and I'm like, what could that mean as a literary device?
Yeah.
And it's still a struggle to figure out what it could mean that could actually be plausible.
Don't look back at the past. It'll destroy you.
I know what it means.
Yeah, what does salt mean as a literary device?
No, but I think that the salt, like as a pile, like as a stone, was like a literary device, like you're saying, to represent the pillars, the stones that you were no longer allowed to look upon. Like you're not allowed to look back upon them. And she became like the epitome of what you were not supposed to be because she did the wrong thing.
I just think she was the first meme. She was the first Salt Bay. Yeah, Salt Bay, man.
She was
wait. Sprinkle.
He was so upset.
Bounce it off your elbow for some reason. But here's the thing, though. Speaking of that whole, screwed up, part of the Bible and all that. We all agree that the Abraham and Isaac story of him almost sacrificing his son is pretty messed up. Not a couple of books later, the same thing happens to this dude named Jephthah and his daughter, only he actually goes through with it and she never gets a name because no one cares.
Right. She's just the daughter. Yep.
Yeah.
And
just the daughter. Property.
And then years later, people came up with the story that, that meant that she went to the temple for service. That's like, no, honey.
Nope.
No.
She got
the Yahwehs were absolutely, I keep trying to tell people, the Yahwehs were killing their children. They thought it was, and God even says in Ezekiel, we commanded them to do it. He conscripted them to do some nasty things, and that's just how it was. And, hey, we learn, we grow up, we do better. We got to stop.
Hey, what can we do? Gotta rape a few angels along the way.
Well, I was gonna, because I've been asking everybody when they thought they were atheist or what made you atheist, but I feel like we're already talking about it.
Yeah, we are.
Oh,
Okay. Well, Emily brings up a good point. Now I'm hungry.
What did he say?
Yeah,
I hope that you don't have high blood pressure because that's going to take you over the limit.
Sure.
Over your daily intake, you're going to get a major headache. You're going to have swelling
water
everywhere.
I pushed through the headache. No, I'm on a mission.
Tequila and Lot's wife.
Ooh.
Dang. I have a good idea for.
But then after Lot's wife turned stone, didn't he just want to have? Didn't his daughters? You know, I think we talked about that. His daughters lured him in there with liquor, and they wanted.
Yeah,
we know the true story.
Right? They got him drunk.
Yeah. That dude got
He took them up there.
The dude in the cave.
Yeah,
with the young. Yeah, they took it. Okay, sure.
Who just lost his wife.
He was the one who took him there. So he was the dad. They followed the dad to where he said to go, which was up into a mountain. When the angels told him, like, "Yo, you can go to Zohar. You can go to that city, bruh."
But that's the thing, though. The average people, the average believers outside of y'all super cults, like when you get into like just regular church people, is that's the only way I can divide them up. Like the regular church people who just like a regular Baptist church, they're not reading the scripture like that. They're not looking at it like that.
Yeah, they're not going over. They're just glossing over the parts that are uncomfortable to look at.
And they're not
yada cave.
But that's the thing. They're not even. It's almost like they're not even on. But they're not even purposefully doing it. They have already been set up autopilot to do it. So they're not purposely saying, "I'm just going to avoid the uncomfortable stuff." This is just how we look at it.
To avoid. It's called avoidance.
And they know how to. They know how to. They just don't think about it. Like I know. What did somebody said? Somebody like one of my wife's coworker didn't want to read one of the comic books she referred to him because it had like demons and witches and all that stuff in. Yeah. But at the same time, she's having premarital sex. So
all the time.
So they don't even, but they're unaware that they're contradicting in themselves at the same time, and they don't know.
Well, they have their own personal Jesus, someone who cares.
Yeah, I feel bad. Some of those people are nice people. Like the average people, they're nice people, and I feel bad. I said, "Oh, you're not a bad person. You're just not thinking right now."
It's better. Like we learn to avoid those things because they're difficult. Because it is one of the things that made me feel like I was atheist, and that is God good? Right? We skip over these stories in the Bible because we want to talk about all the fluffy, good, feely thingies, because that's why we come to church and we want a community and we want to feel good. So we're just not going to read the part of the Bible where the guy got stabbed in the gut and it was so big that the sword enveloped. I only remember that story because it was gruesome. Like,
okay, but I love that one. That one could stay.
But I was shocked that was in there. I was like, how could that be in this book? Because we never read it. We just cherry picked all the stuff. Well, Jehovah's Witness organization is organized and purposely cherry picking, but it makes you question: is this good? Right? Is God good? Is any of this good? Are these lessons that, like, what am I supposed to take from this lesson? This doesn't sound good. And so just like kind of getting to that point of we're avoiding the difficult topics because we don't want to ask the question, is God good? And that was a huge step for what made me admit I was atheist.
And you was in a high controlling religion. When you're not in a high controlling religion, there's no pressure.
Sure. There's
no pressure. When you go to like a regular Baptist
there's probably
church,
stuff I believe that aren't true because I have no pressure about it.
It's no pressure. That's why I'm able to float around and go in there and nobody is none the wiser. They think they don't have no clue that I don't believe in what they believe in, because all I gotta do is you can literally just sit there and they'll say, "Oh, he's in the church." It's easy, but you can't just. Y'all got a little bit more stuff y'all have to do.
What? You saying we have to unpack more shit than you do?
I'm not bragging or nothing. I'm just saying. It was. I'm not bragging. It's just something about when I don't know. Like, I had never sat down with my mom or my grandma, and we never discussed religion. She brought it up about certain things, but it was never like, you need to do this, you need to follow this. This is what we follow. You're gonna follow what I follow. It was like, whatever.
Must be nice. It must be nice.
It's because of. Well, for me, it was because of the age gap between me and my grandmother. She's like born in 1927. Like,
damn.
And I'm in the and like I wasn't like a necessary.
Damn.
I didn't do anything. I was always in the house. Like, I was in the house. I did my homework. I was passing my class. I was making good grades. Teachers never called home. There was nothing to talk about. So they just assumed, oh, he's just in the room believing. Meanwhile, I'm just in the room watching TV, like watching Touched by an Angel, thinking that's exactly
getting touched by an angel. Is that what you said?
Yeah, getting touched by an angel. That's my story. I got touched by an angel. I did have a crush on a girl though, the main star.
Oh, who didn't?
Yeah. And Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. I love Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. That was a good show.
All right.
When we weren't allowed to watch TV, Christy for us, but you know. And Anne of Green Gables.
Oh,
y'all had. You had TV restrictions.
Very much so. Like it was very tightly controlled, and me among like every other homeschooling kid, we did the miniseries of Anne of Green Gables, and I will say one of the proudest moments of my life, probably the point I peaked. I did meet the actress who played Anne, and she gave me a kiss. That was great.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Was that supposed to be religiously associated? Because I think I liked it because nobody ever did go to church. Like I didn't want to watch people go to church.
Touched by an Angel. Here's the problem with Touched by. This is why I like Touched by an Angel is what they wish it would be like.
That's true.
But none of that is happening. There's no angel. You don't have no angel walking with you and helping you do stuff. There's none of that going on. That's what let me down the most. I said, oh.
But it's you like it's a fun idea. It's nice.
Yeah, it's fun. But I didn't know they was doing all that with it.
Here's the big question: do they have Touched by an Angel fan fiction on the internet now?
They will as soon as this show is over.
Touched by Angel, but I don't know about Touched by an Angel.
I'm sure they got another version of it too.
But Touched by some guy named Angel is definitely.
There's so many.
You can look up.
Like, Supernatural was.
Supernatural was Touched by an Angel, but with more steps.
Poor. Look at the dog.
Yes, Megan follows Ken Heathen. Yep, she is amazing, by the way. Also, the kiss is her idea.
just to be clear.
Mm.
Well, one I think like many of us, I know I said like, did your world come crashing around you quickly? Did you figure out you were an atheist? Did everything like the blindfold come off all at once? But it probably doesn't really come off all at once. And I know mine definitely didn't. Like, I'm already making jokes about how I didn't want to go to the Kingdom Hall. It's fucking boring. But I wanted to, fit in. So, like, Patrick Bateman, me, okay? So I learned how to give people what they wanted and pretend I cared. But I didn't. I'm one of those, I'm not true Jehovah's Witness. I'm a no true Scotsman on that. And I have to admit it because my whole life, I've always kind of been like, yeah, I do believe this. Isn't it wonderful? But like also probably not. Like it's probably not true.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do the no true Scotsman thing, I definitely was not a true Jehovah's Witness, in my opinion, because I
wanted to believe.
Right, I wanted to believe it, but never really did.
I thought I believed. I thought I was a believer. So I started going to church and I said, oh. I mean, I don't again because I don't have any bad issues with it. And most people I know are believers, but they don't even like. I'm saying the thing like they don't because we don't ever talk about it. I said like, so you believe that? And I'll be looking at them different now. It's like, oh, we're different.
I'm against belief in general. I'm all about questioning everything.
Yeah.
And
are you sure about that?
I mean, I try to be
You sure about that?
about everything. I just feel like that adopting something as knowledge is just a surefire way of guaranteeing that you're wrong about it. Because there's probably some way that you're going to be wrong about it. I mean, the best example I can pull up is Isaac Newton's theory of gravity. Eventually got proven slightly wrong by Einstein's theory of relativity. I mean, even if it's mostly right and it works for our purposes here, doesn't mean that you're not wrong in some way or another.
Right.
So,
which means all or nothing thinking is usually going to lead you down the wrong path of belief.
right.
Yeah. A little bit of everything. Like there's a little truth in a lot of stuff. And we learned like Einstein wouldn't have been able to do any of the things and come up with any of the things if Isaac Newton hadn't gotten it kind of mostly right or good enough right. And then he made it a little bit more sharper, a little bit more clear. But you had to have the steps to come up, or we wouldn't have ever come up with that idea in the first place. But religion always taught me that it's like always this or always that. There's no in between. It's black, it's white. And I don't think the world's like that.
That was my that was my whole thing about when I finally started learning about what the scientific method was and everything. Like it started to make things a lot clearer compared to how I was brought up. Like for example, in the scientific method, to put it very simplified, to be a little reductionist about it, it's always trying to prove itself wrong. Like, you're always trying to find where it doesn't work. You're always trying to find the exceptions. You're always trying to see how confident can I be? And you're never 100% confident. There's always more things to explore. But when it came to what I was brought up in, reality had to fit around what we believed. And anything that didn't correspond with that was either explained away or ignored entirely, which is what led me out eventually when I noticed that a lot of my friends and a lot of people I knew around me were being hurt and being abused, and it was never being addressed. I was told when I brought it up, well, we just don't talk about that, because talking about it and addressing it made it real. Mm-hmm. And we couldn't have that because that would affect the religion in general. So
what age were you?
Oh, I was definitely in my mid-20s at that point. I was completely bought in until that point. Like, I stayed in way longer than I should have. But to be fair, I was homeschooled. Yeah. I didn't know much about the world outside of my, belief in my house.
I remember you people.
Yeah, exactly. I was those people.
We did a little stint at the Church of Christ. And they had the homeschool kids there. And they was nice. I hung out with them, and the parents were, but they was like that.
Man, is this a popular homeschool program?
Something a little different.
Yeah, like it's like I said, like, man, you're really nice. You're really nice people. But when those kids came to the school finally, they had a little tough time adjusting.
Dan's allowed to question anything.
They got in a few fights with a few people.
We now allow you to question anything, Dan.
That's right.
Until we
the questioner.
Until we bring the next new light where you may not be allowed to question.
I was asking, is the program you were brought up in common in homeschooling in U.S.?
It was at one point. It was part of the cult I grew up in. It was called the Advanced Training Institute of America, or ATIA. And at one time, we had several thousand families who were involved in it, including the Duggar family, which is probably the most famous family to ever come out of it. And now the homeschooling branch of the cult is defunct. They ended it 2 years ago, conveniently right around the time that Josh Duggar went to jail and things started kicking up on the documentary that I was in. But now they're doing their grift elsewhere. It's it's still the same stuff that they teach. They just got out of the homeschooling game.
That is
what's up with that Duggar dude? Is he's still in jail, right?
Yeah, he'll be in jail for at least 12 years. Last I heard, that he was actually in solitary a couple of times because, he has been screwing up in every possible way. But, he'll be in jail for some time.
Wow.
And when he's out, he can't have unsupervised access to his kids or any kids, frankly.
Damn.
Rightly so.
And his parents are getting no kind of flack for that. I mean, other than what me.
What number kid was he?
He was the oldest son.
Oh, the first one?
So I think he was like, if I recall correctly, he was like second or third in line. The order of the family just blows my mind every time. I can't keep them all straight.
Did you come from a large? Did you have a large family?
I was number 4 of 6, and then my oldest sister had 9 kids. So yeah, there was a lot of us. Part of it was the whole quiverful movement as well. It kind of factored into it, which was the idea that you should not practice birth control or anything like that. You had to have as many children as possible. In fact, my mom's OBGYN was part of that movement, and he was the one who got us involved in the quiverful movement and then the cult. So there's that.
As many kids as possible.
Yep.
Illegal. That's a conflict of interest.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it's Alabama though, so
I need more business. Everybody start having babies. Come on, fuck it, fuck them.
Not to police y'all bodies up there, but not to police y'all bodies, but
we need to make abortion mandatory.
That's dangerous for a lady to have.
I know
kids.
It is, but we were taught that if God blessed you with them, He would, make you healthy enough. Unless He just wanted to take you home, then oh well, who are you to call it?
And the fact that she went back to back to back to back to back.
Angela Yates is 40 minutes up the road from me.
Jeez.
And she's an institution from killing her.
I remember that, yeah.
And she wouldn't have been there if they didn't have another kid, probably.
Quiver full, not quiver pull. Quiver pull was what we were not allowed to do.
Yeah. And no pulling out, obviously. You got to have it.
Right.
Pump.
That is
pump and dump. No pumping and dumping.
Pumping and dumping.
Well, it depends on where. Never mind.
You're dumping.
There's designated zones, okay?
That's the kids back to back.
Mm-hmm. Well, my oldest sister has 6 boys and 3 girls in that order. So, I think she kind of used that as an excuse. Like, I just kept going for it, but literally. But my mom had 3 kids. Then there was a gap. Then there was me. Then she got into the quiverful movement and had 2 more kids, like 7 years after me. So she was having kids till she was 45.
Wow. I mean, all it took was 2 for me to see my wife's eyes and just know that she can't be
because you're a decent human being.
There's no way because for me I know it was nerve-wracking for me, but I was just like, this is a lot. Yep. This is not having a baby. Yeah, a lot of people can have babies. It's pretty common just to have a baby, but having a baby is like, yo, that's a whole new person right there.
Yeah.
We would be inundated with all these stories of all these great families of the faith who had like 12 or 13 kids routinely. And of course, what they didn't tell you was, well, yeah, but probably half of them would die of the measles or some shit. Like, it's the mortality rate back then a lot higher.
Yeah.
That's of course. Oh man, we got to do something about that.
Yep.
Well, I'm glad I became atheist before I ever. But I didn't really want to be a Jehovah's Witness wife. Like, I remember growing up and being like, that's not for me. Like, I see the rules and I don't want to follow them. And I'd rather
I didn't want to follow any
on my own and not have a man telling me what to do. Like, Dick just isn't that good. Like, it's good, it's not that good. Yeah, I didn't want to be a Christian wife. It's not for me.
Yeah, I don't like Christian wives either. Well, I don't. That's not that I don't like that they're wives. But
I didn't say I didn't like Christian wives. I said I didn't want to be.
I can't stand Christian.
Every once in a while, you just gotta assert something new. You know, it's a whole thing.
I don't understand those Christian wives. But no, you know, even though I wasn't religious coming up, everybody else is around religion. They had the ideas of what it is to be in a relationship with a woman, and it's just weird to watch because I just appear to be, because I don't do anything like that's why nobody can figure out if people can't tell if I'm atheist or not, is because I don't do anything. Like I don't go anywhere. I don't drink anymore. I'm at home most of the time. I don't do anything. So they just he's a good Christian. I'm like, I'm not doing anything. I'm just being a regular person.
Right.
All that other stuff is what y'all think it is because in their mind of what they think an atheist is, I don't line up with it, so they can't put their finger on it. It's like it's something off. Like my in-laws know it's something off, but they ain't got nothing. They like, can we? It's like, what? Well, he's nice. Like, yo, what's going on? And they can't put their finger on it. So it's just, man. So you look at somebody that's been 13 years undercover. I go to church. I went to church for 2 years flat. And this is when I was already. It wasn't like I was going to church to believe. I was just going because wife's dad church. I guess I'll go. I'll help out y'all some decent people at the most, And they're like, and it's like they're not a mega church.
Nobody figured me as a theist nor as an atheist so far.
Like phrasing.
We're
not doing phrasing anymore.
Like
figured me as an atheist, but I'm a good steward of Christ. You know,
well, what would Jesus do? That's a great question.
I'm always doing what Jesus would do, but then again,
who would Jesus finger you as?
I went to a mega church, and the mega church is just, I think that's the greatest thing to ever come. Is the mega church.
I don't know. I went to a Green Day concert when I was 16. That was pretty.
No. I mean the mega church, the mega church is doing the job for us because they're getting more out. Because they're having to get more outlandish with making this outlandish stuff believable. And the more they try, the more people like, what are y'all doing? Because nobody never knew what church was like. You take a person like me who's vaguely in the church. I didn't see as much church as I could see now. And when I see now, I was like, oh.
Guys, I had to leave early. And this is me not doing an Irish goodbye. So goodbye.
It's a no true Scotsman goodbye.
Jehovah would not be proud.
Yeah.
Also,
in regards to that other question that popped up, I feel like the Holy Spirit would be like a 2-pump chump, but anyway.
Yeah.
Probably. Didn't last long.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because
the mega church would destroy it.
Eventually. God was into the quiver pool method with Mary. That's what it was. Is that what the quiver pool is? You quiver just for a second, then you wink.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing is, she had to be told about it. Like, if you have to be told about it after the fact, it was like, oh.
Is that the virgin birth? Because if they think it doesn't count because you pulled it out real quick, and then that's a technicality, but really, it's not a great.
Here's the thing: is like, were they soaking? How does that work?
Right.
I heard somebody talk the Bible.
I want to soak,
and it sounds so good the way they talked about it.
I mean,
I should put a poll.
And then I remember when y'all was having this conversation, like, why would a deity care about where you put your seed? It just seems pointless.
Because eugenics.
True. The original eugenics.
The original eugenics, right? It's control.
The first one was in the flood. And you know my theory. You know my theory. We're all the people who died in the flood, and now we're just suffering in hell.
Yeah,
This is the bad place.
I agree. It is a bad place.
Yeah.
Great show.
I do love that show.
No,
I've never seen that show. It's pretty good.
by the way, can we talk about that too? Like you hit on a really good point there. All the times in the Bible where God was like, "Okay, I'm going to do this thing, and then everything's going to be great forever." Like, okay, hold on, I'm going to do this thing with the tower, and we're good. Okay, well, no, I'm going to flood the world. Okay, we're good now. We have the righteous people, and no, okay, so I'm going to take these people to this land. Everything's going to be great. That didn't happen. Okay, so I'm going to send Jesus. Okay, everything's going to be great. No, like everybody keeps talking about this end times bullshit and everything. I'm like, how do you know it's not going to just assuming all that's true? Like, what guarantee do you have that everything's going to be good forever? Because we've heard this before over and over,
Mm-hmm.
And also, how can you complain about time? They usually complain about times are getting worse, but it's the plan. You should be jumping for joy right now. It's happening.
The resurrection, you mean? What's the rapture thingy where you zoom up? How's that different than like the other cult? What's the one with the Heaven's Gate where they believe they get taken up by spaceships? Rapture sounds the same to me.
They do, but from their point of view, the people who didn't die, from their point of view, those people did go on to the other place. They just missed it.
I just mean it's the same concept.
This is about to okay.
Maybe the ship's coming back around. Maybe it's gonna
make another loop around and get us.
Isn't there any clips coming? Maybe that's like.
Oh,
oh, the people on my feed, like some people on my social media feeds, everything have really been showing themselves. They're just like, I'm just researching everything I can. I'm like, you're Googling people who agree with you and who put robo voice AI stuff on TikTok saying, this looks like the Hebrew letter tau. No, stop that.
You can literally make anything
work.
Yeah, like what is that called when you do that? Like, manipulate information? I don't know, like
lie outright. Make shit up.
They do make it
bullshitter.
That's true.
Everything's proof of God, but God himself.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Weird that.
It's like, so it's why I got all this covert stuff? It don't make any sense to do it. It just don't make sense to do none of this stuff. It makes no sense. Easter makes no sense. There's no reason. So how long are y'all gonna be celebrating Easter?
Yeah, well, Easter never made sense to me.
Yeah.
But then that's another step of how I became atheist, is because I was in the one true religion. And when you preach that you're the one true religion, you should probably prove to me that all the other religions aren't real or false or hypocritical. And Jehovah's Witnesses did a good job. If you went to all the meetings, they really pointed out how hypocritical a lot of other religions were, and then just just don't look at us, and then all it took me is to be like, you know what, actually, now that I'm looking around here, how is this any different? And then it was like, oh shit, does that mean I'm an atheist? What does that mean?
I don't remember the time we spent in that Jehovah's Witness church. I don't remember a single sermon.
There's nothing remarkable, because there is nothing remarkable that you, other than the whole paradise gig, that's the gig that kind of sounds kind of cool. But other than that, there's nothing remarkable to.
I hated going. That's all I remember. It was always the one.
It was torturous.
It's just because it was long. The service was so long. There was no windows, and the light was just like a. Electrically blinding you, and just and all I remember is just
department store.
All I remember is just department store, just looking and just being like, "Oh."
Was the last thing you remember Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones with a red flash or something?
what it reminds me.
And I remember that lady. All thing I remember is the lady who picked us up. One time, she started breastfeeding her kid in the car with me in the back seat, and I was like, "Oh, I had never seen breasts before." I was like, okay, I'll just look out this window the whole time. Then, you're a young boy, like, and she just whip it out. You like,
no warning whatsoever.
No warning. Didn't try to talk to you while you do. Don't talk to me. Feed your baby and go about your business. Get that thing away from me. Yeah. And then then that's it. I don't remember ever going again after that.
But Jehovah's Witness really traumatized you.
Yes.
I feel like you took the important things away from that experience.
Yeah, it was a doozy. I used to pass by it all the time. The Kingdom Hall, and I did not know that y'all was connected like that. It was just that one building. I didn't know that they all were just this inner web of control like that. And that's how yours was, right? The inner web. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was. It's interesting because I skipped a lot of the worst stuff. But the idea was that you would be raised in this homeschooling environment, and then you would go work at one of their training centers or their headquarters itself for little or no pay, and basically prop up the ministry while you were getting life experience to do whatever. And I never went to that because at that time, my parents and we were all missionaries in Belgium, and it was too expensive to send me over here to work. So, yeah, like they couldn't afford to have me work for the ministry. But I did go to their headquarters a few years ago, actually 2 years ago, right before the documentary released. Their old headquarters building is nearly shut down. They're moving all their operations to Texas. And I went with my good friend Lindsay from the documentary as well. And we were able to tour the campus. They actually gave us permission to walk around, take pictures and stuff, which I'm sure they kicked themselves later when they saw what we were actually involved with. But yeah.
Oh, hi, sweet children. Come on in.
Right.
Where in Texas they're going?
Welcome to my lair.
Oh, Big Sandy, Texas. But they were initially founded and run out of Chicago area, basically Oak Brook. So we went up to Oak Brook and everything, and without all that free labor, without all the like young people constantly working to keep up the place and everything, within, I would say, less than 10 years, like the place has nearly fallen in on itself. It was just cheaply made and it looked pretty from the outside, but when you get up to it, it's like there's paint flaking everywhere, there are windows busted, like nothing works on the property and stuff like that. And it just really showed me, like, the only people who really benefited from any of this were the people who were at the top. Like none of this was maintained by people who were paid worth a damn. Like this was all maintained by the large amounts of expendable labor that these parents willingly sent to this cult. And it just broke my heart.
Did y'all see that other doc, Keep Sweet?
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm familiar with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that dude came to Texas.
Something about Texas.
Because you can they go into the desert and build a compound in one of those small towns, and nobody's gonna talk to you about nothing. Mm-hmm. That's why they coming out here, because ain't nobody gonna come up to you out there. They think they slick.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Well, so there's one more thing I wanted to say, and that this comment actually is a good lead into it, and that is when atheists come to the conclusion they don't believe in a God, and we all have earlier, Chad, we agreed that the definition of atheism was just not believing in a God. Nothing more, right? And so if we've all come to this conclusion, and people lump us all together as if we all think the same things and believe the same things, and I think it's a little unfair, because I would say we don't. We can all agree that we don't believe a God exists, but when we ask if not God, then what? Right? Those are like the big universe questions. Everybody's got a little bit of a different answer, and everybody's getting to that answer maybe a little bit differently. But I think when you take away the belief, then you start doing a little bit more listening and looking and critical thinking and going, well, how would I know what's true? How do I know it's true? And I think those of us who are atheists who've come to that kind of that conclusion and we're on that journey, sometimes we do come to very similar conclusions because there's a lot of very compelling ideas out there. But more importantly, I think it's not a great idea to claim that you're gonna ever know. Like, I don't think we're ever gonna know. I don't think there's anything about the history of human existence that's ever said that anyone knows or that a group of people are ever gonna know. And I'm okay with not knowing.
But I know though.
But you know, okay, well, then
I know what
I would like to hear what it is.
I can't tell you. If I tell you, then it won't happen. It's like a birthday wish. But to that comment that person left about who made the nut and the nut, and I was watching Aaron Raw, and he was talking about how if there's nothing, then there's a boundary of where the nothing is. Therefore, there is something there.
So it's when nothing becomes something. Right? It's like it's something until it's nothing, and then there's like a spectrum of it's so nothing that now it's something.
Because he has to exist. That whole he exists out of that is so convenient. So you get him back in the corner. Well, he exists outside of this time and space. So nothing? That's what you're saying. That's the only definition that would make sense of nothing. Like it doesn't exist. Nothing.
It's not in our reality. So.
But if he exists inside of nothing, then that nothing is something and some place to go. But the only proof you have that place that you can't see is from people who only exist here, telling you that there's another place outside of the place that we're at. Nobody's ever been there, but trust me, it's there. Oh, okay.
Entropy? Entropy, like getting worse over time? What's entropy? Sorry.
That everything goes in from the status of order to disorder.
Oh, okay. Entropy. Okay.
Well, there's
assuming that everything you see around you is order, but it's like
like decay. It takes effort and energy to build something more than it usually takes to destroy something. It's kind of all along those ideas, I think. But.
Right. Yeah, my whole thing on all that is, but when it comes to the origin of the universe and everything, I really don't care because I mean, it's very interesting, and there are people who are way smarter than me and everything who have figured out, how to better observe it and all that in my own lifetime than I ever thought we would get to. I just want to, take a step back and ask everybody: y'all realize that we as human beings took a bunch of rocks out of the ground, taught them how to do math, shot them into space on a bunch of explosives, and now we're taking pictures of the past, like literally like things that happened billions of years ago, and are beaming them back down to Earth using invisible rays. Like, we figured out magic. It's stuff that works. It's literally science. It's trial and error. It's a scientific method. It's all that sort of thing.
That's all fake. That's fake.
Oh yeah, that's true. Unless you believe that it's all some kind of gigantic conspiracy. Which good luck keeping a conspiracy with that many people involved. But yeah,
we're inside of a snow globe type thing,
right? But everything we've been able to observe lends itself to certain explanations, which the more we learn may or may not be true. But I can tell you this, we have more evidence for what we currently believe than we have of any kind of outside deity or God having created it. And even if you did have that, well, then from whence came God?
I have no idea how lights. If you asked me to make a light, I couldn't make it.
Like a light bulb.
A light bulb. I have no.
I can turn the light on.
Yeah, but get a mad But if I was here before the lights were invented, this would blow my mind.
Right?
So you walk into a room, you go. Oh.
When science is indistinguishable from magic, Yes.
Yeah. Well, when you can withhold some technology from people, you can become their gods.
Well,
the Ferengi did. The Ferengi did that.
That's true. They did. That historical epic Noah Star Trek. Which could
yeah, I love Star Trek.
Me too.
Another thing about the atheist, I was like, they don't talk about God at all. This is nice.
I don't understand. I don't understand how you can be a believer and watch Star Trek. Like, I don't get that part. I said, like,
yeah, because there's a lot of belief. Like, I used to love watching Star Trek before going to the Kingdom Hall a lot of times because of the time it came on.
That's probably why it probably planted the seed in you.
Right.
The seed of Star. Gene Roddenberry planted his seed in you.
The evil Gene Roddenberry.
Hey, the Mormons have Battlestar Galactica, so you know. Oh yeah, very much so.
Oh, the poor Mormons.
Yeah.
Mormons. I get JWs and Mormons confused from time to time.
They're very similar. Yeah. Shake the tree, one of us will fall out.
The Mormons are richer.
Yeah.
This is
the gap. Oh my goodness. The freaking difference in the education. Like,
yeah, they go to college. They send their children to college.
They have their own colleges, or how many, just one? I don't know, but at least one.
And they have mastered the art to not be annoying.
Well, they do knock on doors.
Yeah, but that's not, they're polite, and they'll say, if you say no, they'll say, oh, thank you, and they'll leave. Like, one came up into the parking lot, I said, no, thank you, I'm good. I said, okay, all right, thank you, bye. I went on and left.
I mean,
but they're not.
When I was a Jehovah's Witness going out door to door, if somebody said no, thank you, I was like, thank God. Okay, bye. You'll never see me again.
But y'all was the worst though, because y'all didn't, like, the Mormons at least went door to door, and y'all went door to door too. But y'all also, not only did y'all go door to door, y'all hid around corners and surprised people. You know how many?
You got time for Jehovah?
I remember one time this Jehovah Witness.
You want to buy Jehovah?
She came out the wall like a shadow.
Like the T-1000?
Yeah, just like that.
Definitely trying to acquire you there.
That's it. I've never seen, and they also sing in the parking lot. I've seen quite a few of them sing in the park. I've never seen.
They're boring. They don't sing.
I've never seen a Mormon. All Mormons do is just. All they do is just walk around and ride those bikes and go to their church.
Okay, I will have you know, I went to a Broadway play and there were a whole bunch of Mormons singing on a stage. Okay, so there's that.
I do need to see that.
I didn't see the Book of Mormon. You're talking about the Book of Mormon, right?
Yeah. They're not real
I would
wars.
be interested in seeing it just for funsies.
Everybody's in a weird.
What question? I'm sorry, I didn't see a question. I'm like half paying. I'm high as frick, man. I'm high as hell, man.
Oh, Peace asked who put the logic, which my answer to that is who put the bop in the bobble up a ding dong. It makes as much sense as that question.
I don't understand. Yeah, I'm not sure I understand the question.
I think logic comes from evolution. Honestly, if you ask me,
trial and error is what logic is.
I've evolved and learned.
I think it just whatever. Some things just make more sense because it's just easier to do that way. Like to me, if this is the world the Christian guy created, it seems illogical to do it if the ultimate goal is so he decided, you know what, I'm gonna make some things. I'm gonna try them all. Then I'm gonna do it again, and then I'm gonna come down as myself, and then have them. Then I'm gonna die for the sins that they have, so they then can finally come exist forever with me in nothing. So it's like logic in that. Why not just make them? If you just but I want them to have free will to choose me, but you already knew before you make them that the ones weren't gonna be there anyway.
Right, it wasn't gonna happen.
So it just seems
And also
illogical.
Noah's Ark doesn't like it doesn't ever seem to make sense to me either because you took like how many days to create the earth? Like and different days, I mean, like you did different actions. And then in like a matter of 100 whatever days of rain, you just you just wiped that all out? Like that didn't mean like you had to take a break because it was so hard for you to do all those things. And now you just like shit on everything you did and you're mad at humans. You should be mad at yourself, bro. That's like when you play a video game, you see like the bros like throwing the remote at the
That's what he
monitor
did.
because they're
He
pissed.
rage quit.
That was God. Yeah,
He
was
rage quit.
everybody's dying.
This level sucks.
Reset.
Come on, bro. Come on. It's
Yeah, God gives you this whole energy of like, how, this problem I have created is causing me stress. Like, well, don't have kids.
I don't know. It makes no sense. It just everything works without it, regardless. And then when you take into account that there's other people like y'all all had different beliefs, and then that's just and y'all are all different beliefs of the same God. It's the same God. Y'all just all splintered off inside of that. Then you go over to other places and they got all other types of stuff. Mm-hmm. And then the people who've never heard of half of the stuff. They're just, I don't know. Weird. That is weird. And but my motto is I don't have a problem with people believing. I'm just more concerned with how they got there. That's like, how did you get to that? Like, I know you get there, but how did you think about how you got there? If you thought about how you got there, you'd be like, whoa, this is weird. But
or to me, what you're doing when you get there, it's just like, are you screwing with everybody's freedoms? Are you, hurting marginalized people? Are you, trying to make life more difficult for everybody? Or are you genuinely trying to be a better person? There are some people, who believe in everything, who, somehow are able to make it work for them and be the best version of themselves. Good to go. But, there is a whole bunch of people right now who are a bigger problem.
Yeah.
I make the argument that those are the most dangerous ones.
Interesting.
Wait, who's the most dangerous ones?
The ones who remember the casual believer, the guy like you said. It's not.
Well, they give like weight
because it's more it's more of them than it is of the necessary the crazy ones.
Dude,
because
I 100% subscribe to that.
That's why y'all
are the ones who are complacent and complicit and like sit idle and don't speak up. And
here's the thing: it's not even. It doesn't register to speak up because they may be caught up in whatever's going on in their life, and they're not really because when you think about like a Baptist church, it's not like how I think I said this before. It's not like how y'all churches are interrelated, connected. You're talking about individual churches who operate independently from each other. They don't. If you have an issue here, you can go over there. Has nothing to do with that. If you get sick of that, you can splinter off and start your own Baptist church. There's no real structure to it. That's why that's why they're the most dangerous ones, because they have no structure and there's no way to rein them in. They're not.
It all goes.
So that's why they're able to ignore some of the stuff because I don't like how they're talking about gay people. Okay, I'm gonna go over here. But my sermon is going to include gay people, but I'm still going to talk about God, even though they're not necessarily bad people, but they still prop up the crazy ones because it still confirms them. And then if you just go to a regular Baptist, like the Baptist church I go to, those people are not. I've watched some of the nicest people in that church do some of the nicest things, and they're really genuine. Some of them genuine, nice people are not doing anything, but if you bring up something like abortion or gay marriage, to them it's like they're not gonna be mean about it, but they're not gonna vote in the way you want them to, and you'll never know if they voted or not because they don't talk about it like that. They just go to the polls quietly and they vote, and then they go home, and you'll never know who they are. And it's all thanks to the mega church, and they're spreading them more. The mega church is the Joel Osteens of the world. You ever look at those? You ever look at? When I watch those things, I always look. I like when I was watching Greg Locke. It was never Greg Locke that fascinated me. It's whenever that camera spun around and you saw how many people out there, and then when you actually
you're laughing and
but here's the thing about when you look at how they talk about Greg Locke, and what they'll say he's like racist and all that stuff like that. But if you pay attention to his audience, it's multiracial in there. It's black people in there. It's white. Yes, it's not this exclusive one race thing because he's a Southern Baptist church. His church and how he preaches is similar to how my wife's stepdad preaches. The way he preaches, his cadence, his movements, that's that Southern Baptist church. Unless you're part of that IFB Baptist church.
Flavor.
But he has that. So they're good. I said they are the best at it because they don't do that's what because they always look at the other ones as see them, look how crazy they are. You can't even get Christmas. You can't get Christmas. You can't do this. You have to go here. You have to wear this. You have to wear this. Yada, yada, yada. Come on, baby. You can do whatever you want here. Just believe.
And everything you're saying makes me an atheist all over again. Like, I can't.
But it does. But the only thing is, it does. But it's starting to turn in their favor because there's a growing like those progressive Christian churches are the better version of them because they're starting to weed out the bad stuff part of it. But it still props up the other one because it makes them feel like, see, they're being wicked. Let's just.
Well, and also we especially in this society, we have this, default belief that or this default notion that belief equals good. As long as you believe in something, that automatically makes you a good person. It may not be the thing we're into, but whatever, that's it. And that disguises, and frankly, like you said, people just don't deal with the issues that are being caused by that. It's like, for example, when I got out of the cult, I had a brief period where I was a progressive Christian. And I told a pastor of a church I'd been visiting, I was like, hey, this is what I came out of. It was a cult. It was bad. He was like, well, I'm not sure if what you were in was a cult. He's like, it was probably more of a high controlling group, and that's useful for some people. And I'm like, okay, bye now, because I'm like, yeah, but why are you defending them? Like, it doesn't even make sense. They just make you look bad. Also, he was having an affair, but that was a whole different issue. The point is, yeah, it was a thing.
Don't look deeply.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had a gay old time.
Having a gay old time. That's right. Yeah, no, there's a lot to there's a lot to say on just being atheist and not believing in a God. And I know I wanted to say something about Pascal's wager and logic, since we've been talking about this, because I've gone over this so many times. And the concept of Pascal's wager, because I've had so many people, my own family members, Christians all over, believers of all over, when you ask, probing questions like, but why is this convincing? And then I'll get down to a point where it's like, well, I just believe because, it would be stupid to not do it and then be wrong. And so it's like a wager of your life. But you're really only putting your ticket down for one thing. And there could be so many different things. And there's billions of people on this planet who put their ticket into a different bucket. And all I'm saying is, if there is a God and they're not just some alien who like spit on the earth and we all evolved from him, like if there is a caring and good and, involved God, then wouldn't they just understand that it's really fucking difficult to figure out which one you're supposed to believe in? And then
absolutely. Yeah.
None of it matters.
I don't understand how unbelief is worse than what those people.
Oh my God. And that's
exactly. How is that worse? How is that right? How is that worse? Especially like
I'm still shopping around, right? I don't want to commit just yet. I'm waiting for my deathbed.
Just to separate and to divide, honestly. That's all that. It's just so stupid.
I think we just I don't like to sound like a Douglas that's down, but
Hey, Douglas
Douglas Adams. I'm getting so excited.
Douglas down in the dumps. Is that what you said?
Because the high controlling religions are issue, but JWs and y'all and JWs like yeah. Y'all ain't got nothing on those Baptists. I'm telling you, they like and the reason is because like especially when it comes to like black people and Baptists, because it's so rooted in civil rights. Like it played such an instrumental part in being the church as being a place where black people would go and talk and congregate, communicate.
Yeah.
You can't get it out. It's like, woo!
I mean, it was huge for black people. Absolutely. And I don't know that it's the right thing to not have religion. I just think that we need to have better sensibilities, and that's going to come through better education. And so that's why that leg is being kicked out from underneath of us.
The problem is people want you to participate in what they believe in. It's like, hey, I mean, like, and it's like, and like we said, it seems like it's like in my mind, it seems like it's plenty reason not to believe it. It's like, yeah, I wouldn't believe that. Yeah, but they make it seem like it's just impossible. Like, how can you not believe? How can you?
I know that, and I want to go like, what do you mean? How can you? I didn't realize that I was really not a believer for a very long time, but I didn't know how to put words to it because I just looked around at other people and I was like, damn, something must be fucking wrong with me because I ain't feeling what they're feeling. I'm not enjoying this.
Yeah, and it's so many of them.
Well, someone in the chat earlier was talking about this being a gay night, and I just made me realize that was another thing that I had a hard time with, because if I was supposed to emulate Jesus and I was supposed to be kind and I have the one true religion, I'm supposed to recruit people into it, right? But the only way you're gonna like recruit people is if you're genuine and genuinely kind, and you can't fake caring about people. You can only do that for so long. And the more I thought about how people who are gay are treated, or just because they like somebody who's the same sex that they are, like, it's kind of none of my business. But also, how am I supposed to? Why are they not worthy of hearing what I have to say? But I have to be so disgusted by them that now I can't talk to them.
Who are such a minority? Like they're a minority.
You mean they're just like not even a small group of people getting ostracized?
No. I said like the way the people who are against gay speak, they act like there's just an onslaught of just, you barely see a gay person, depending on where you live. Like you may see one or two, but you're looking at places like major cities where they're gonna come together where people are like them, so it can be safety in numbers. It's not. It's like this idea that it's a concern. They always gotta have something to be concerned about that's coming. And trust me, there's not people are still having babies. people are still like there's no like.
I did like how someone asked earlier in the chat, like, well, what if your parents were gay and you wouldn't exist? I'm like, don't threaten me with a good time. Like, I didn't ask to be here, y'all. But now that I'm here, I'm making it everyone's problem. That's the thing. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. But yeah, truth be told, I have always wondered that. Like, what if this? I mean, great, but I wouldn't know any better. I wouldn't know any different. I wouldn't really. How can you care? You're not here to know. It's just how
you're gonna. Oh, Ryan,
think of all the eggs in my womb that didn't make it.
Oh, you got a bunch of souls inside of you.
Care about all the women. Yeah, there's a lot of eggs in there, and there's also a lot of sperm that didn't go anywhere. So we got a lot of contemplating of constantly wondering
what if they're keeping up lodge.
Every time I hear it out,
growing mutants in there.
But y'all just got like, I don't know, the whole baby making process is just like y'all just like, factories. Not like you're like property, like a factory property. not like that's not like you're like not like that's your design just to pump out babies. But I mean like just like oh yeah. I don't know, like I said, I just feel simple. And like, they're sitting over there with a bunch of eggs in them. Ooh.
Well, what is the meaning of life? Let's be honest. Evolutionary, the meaning of life is to procreate.
Yeah, that's all we did.
So
consume much as possible and procreate. But we at the point we can
or
slow down
try
a little bit.
to
We can slow down.
Yeah, right.
We can slow down a bit.
Hey, can anyone give me an example of a problem that exists on an existential level in the world where the answer is throw more humans at it? Like, seriously.
The Christians could solve their problem of the end time by just stop making babies.
Well, so if sex really is the big driver, right? Because like let's take what people say the Bible says about it out of the picture, or religion. If we really did just evolve and procreation is the survival of our species, and that is a huge drive of life everywhere, then why are you mad if you're a man that gay men exist? It's less competition for you. Like you can now spread your seed even better, right? So why is that
right? Some of these things can
evolutionarily speaking,
not
it makes sense
detriment.
to me to not worry about the competition that now is no longer in the game. So
why do they see it as not like a beneficial thing? It could be.
Well, and that also would explain why men would hate trans people, because now it's hard for them to then just quickly gaze at faces and go, yeah, that one. Because now they're sure.
I remember watching Tu Wong. I watched Tu Wong. I remember watching Tu Wong Fu as a kid. Tu Wong Fu as a kid. And I remember watching what I was seeing, but I don't remember how the people talk about it. I said like, no, I remember the movie. It was like, it was different because you didn't really see that often, but the movie was good. But I didn't leave that movie like, I don't want to put a dress on. But it wasn't like, because I didn't think about it like that.
Right.
It was just like, oh, that's just
right.
a movie.
And it's probably not your thing. Now, maybe if that was your thing, you might have said, oh, why am I interested? Like, but
it wasn't like the movie didn't make me
not gonna
either way. It was just, to me, it was like, oh, okay. And then
Bugs Bunny didn't have an effect on me.
In the dress, or
well, I was watching
Bugs Bunny, maybe, but okay.
I was watching Bugs Bunny with all the racials.
Oh God!
I was watching it like I was laughing at just seeing like
all of the characters too. What was the rooster? I love the rooster, but he was quite
Foghorn Leghorn.
Yeah, Foghorn Leghorn. I liked him.
None of that registered. Like you never think like kind of my kind of code experience is that in terms of race. Because of the church, how the church is tied into being black, it picked up some of the characteristics of how the church operate is how it kind of operates sometimes as being black. So you just kind of, I don't know, similar. That's why I can relate to y'all a little bit, because it's similar to that because of the ties to the church it has. But I didn't have ties to the church, so that left me kind of on the outskirts of everything. Like I don't like a lot of the cultural things that some black people share. None of that's relatable to me. So it's like, that has nothing to do with. I don't know nothing about that. That doesn't. I'm not. That's like, I didn't do that. Like that's different. That's like, it's weird. But everybody else says that's what you're supposed to do. So you end up kind of faking and doing the do. But then I got older and said, whatever, I ain't doing it anymore. So now I'm here.
And here we are.
Here we are. Just that was a quick and rundown dirty version of me not making any sense.
TLDR.
Yeah. You know how long it took me to figure out what that meant?
You're like killed deers? I don't even know.
Now, what does it mean again? I can't remember now.
Too long didn't read.
Too long didn't read.
Okay. Too long.
It's like the short version, like you said, but the The down dirty.
Man, I used to see that. I was like, what is
Dan had said something earlier. It was a little bit further up, and it was kind of like I had talked about like how we were supposed to perceive gay people. And it was you're supposed to love the person and hate what they do, basically. I don't remember what he said exactly.
Get the way they are, yeah.
We love the person but hate the way they are. Yeah. Can you tell me any scenario that you can think of where if you actually hated what a person did, you'd actually love the person?
Wait, say this again. Say this again, please. I'm
We
a little
love the
high.
person,
I
but
got
we hate the sin, right?
perfect example.
Wait, but I need her to say the question again. I'm a little too high. Sorry.
Can you think of any scenario where you would hate what somebody is doing, where you would hate everything about the way they live their life, but you still love the person?
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Can you think of any
That
scenario
woman
where you're
what about that?
successful in that? Because they
Oh,
say we're
oh,
supposed to
oh,
do that.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think in reality that's what ends up happening. You end up just being disgusted by the person.
Because I'm looking at those people and how they talk about that lady who went on that 10-day vacation and left their kid at home alone to die. Do they like she made that decision?
Should we love her and
should we love
hate
her?
what she did?
Hate what she did?
It's kind of hard to say that I'd love her. I wouldn't say I love her.
I wouldn't say I love her. I wouldn't invite her in for dinner. Oh, I heard about that. I was like, you're not coming over. Well, she's in jail for life, so But then again, that's another. I'm not excusing what she did, but that's another reason. Stop having babies. That woman was stressed out.
Yeah, that's painful after a while.
That's why I'm pro-abortion. I don't want to turn people into crazy people.
You've got to have some kind of postpartum depression and all kinds of crazy crap.
Psychosis.
We've been doing this for almost 2 hours, you guys.
Who said? Who told you that?
What?
Where did you get this information?
We need proof.
We need evidence.
Are you sure it wasn't a big bang? Okay.
There's a little clock in the corner telling me what time it is.
Does that clock exist in here with us, or is it outside of us?
Right. Is it in the room with us right now?
I don't.
What even is time?
Yeah, that actually is one of my favorite topics. Approaching an event horizon is probably one of my most favorite things to ponder.
So you like spaghetti, is what you're saying?
I do, and the monster.
So speaking of event horizon in Star Trek, what I always think about this from time to time is like how do they keep track of time?
It's meaningless. What are you talking about?
Stardate.
I know, but they have
relative. What I mean,
but they have a night shift.
They have a computer that says
computer must just do it as a regulatory system.
So how do they know when but their night shift? How can they guarantee that their night shift is in line with whatever planet they land on or whatever they're doing? It may be daytime somewhere, and you got the night shift.
Huh? Yeah. They might just have maybe on the ship they just have a time zone. There's a time zone on the ship.
have a circadian and also they've
time
been
differential.
Yeah, exactly. Have a circadian time differential, and and they maintain that discipline and everything. And also the entire thing is fiction, and we're not supposed to think about it that hard. Although if you go to Dragon Con, I swear you're going to find 10 people who all have different theories. It's kind of like religion, really, when you think about it.
Everyone's got a.
That's what it feels like. That's what makes me even more when I hear them talk about, say this just sounds like when I'm talking about Star Trek or something. But the only difference is I'm not leaving my house and proclaiming that Jean-Luc Picard is above me somewhere.
Oh, you haven't been to Dragon.
I'm tithing to Captain Picard.
They're gonna beam me up soon. I'm gonna get beamed up soon, guys.
Are you sure he's not above us?
Mess up, Scotty.
Just a little. That's how we do.
Please, no. Honestly, take me away from here. I'm not even joking. I want the F off.
I have my little sticky things. I said, "Beam us up, Scotty," and I have watch.
Have you used them yet?
He's gone. And then he comes back.
That's amazing.
That's cool. I like that. Are you using them?
Bookmarks.
Okay.
Okay, just making sure.
Jesus knows power.
I like some Star Trek.
All right.
Captain.
Next gen or original series or otherwise?
Me?
What's that?
Yeah.
What?
I am a next gen Deep Space Nine Voyager person. Even though I don't dislike the other ones, but I just really I bounce right now. I'm back on Voyager, so
he's a '90s Star Trek guy.
Classic, nice. I love it.
I like because I'm a what I like to call a TV conservative. I like
I just like a little Fox News. I don't do the Newsmax. Okay,
just a little. I like my TV shows just simple. I don't really like because I like my TV is like I don't like. I already have anxiety throughout the day. I don't need it when I'm watching TV.
Fair enough.
I need I like slow pace.
That's your escape. You don't want to watch TV to feel more anxiety.
Yes, I like it. Got to be slow paced, very kind of predictable, procedural type.
No, what about American Horror Story? You ain't watching that?
Nope. That's this.
He won't even watch X-Files, so
I will watch X-Files. I'm gonna get to it.
One
That's
year.
pretty formulaic, to be fair.
one or 2 years in the future.
I don't watch 3 episodes so far.
Congratulations.
It's all right. My favorite one's the third one anyway, so it's fine. Tunes.
Okay. I'm gonna get there. It's just King of the Hill.
I feel like Animaniacs is, like probably the, pinnacle of like comfort TV.
Yeah, I
don't want to admit that I probably know more of the lyrics to that song than any scripture of the Bible.
Which one?
Good one.
The Animaniacs song, the opening song. I'm not gonna sing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we
sure.
See, you know it. Ask me to quote a scripture, and I'm like, I don't know. Something. God did it. I don't know.
I've been given so many Bibles, and I just can't get past. I tried to read it one time. When it got to that part where it's talking about he begot who, somebody begot who, and it was just going on, and I just was like,
this is useful information, though. This is very spiritual stuff. Like, we have to know who fucked.
Who's fucking the night? Who's fucking the night? Who fucking the night?
I don't know.
Ever been in a club when they play that? Everybody gets lit. Everybody gets a little excited. I'm fucking tonight. I'm fucking tonight.
Wait, what song is that?
I don't remember, but it's
the lyrics are pretty hard.
Wait. I know the song, but that's the lyrics to that song.
I don't know.
That's the Animaniacs intro.
We get hype, but I
know that song. But that's what they've been saying that whole time,
or at least on the dirty version, maybe.
I thought I was listening to the dirty version.
I think we should all go and listen to the dirty version of everything we love. So,
fair enough. Animaniacs Taylor's version. No.
Who begot who? I mean, I guess I don't understand what's so important about that.
I don't know. It's also totally irrelevant because who's saying it? Based on whose word? On the fact that everything is based off of the male lineage, but the only thing you can truly know back then is which baby popped out of which vagina. So really following the mother's lineage is the only thing that actually makes sense. Otherwise, it's just, yep, that's who the baby's father is. Yep, because I don't want to get stoned to death. And he probably got raped by somebody else anyway. So, yep, that's the father. We're like hanging an entire religion off of the who begot who, and it's all the male lines. Like, come on. It doesn't even make sense. They didn't even know what atoms were. Come on.
We're just animals. We're just animals. We're just animals.
We are just
animals. You and me, baby.
You're supposed to do what's best to procreate, and I don't think that's the best to procreate. And also, I don't know.
Wait,
maybe alpha dog. Maybe
leave them out.
I don't know.
The best way to procreate? Are you talking about like which position?
No, I'm talking about like all the animals are just concerned about procreating and doing their part to procreate their thing, and some of the like the alpha dom guys adding extra stuff you don't need. You don't need all that extra stuff to. What are you talking about? Like, just talk to somebody. If you don't get along, move on.
All right. Well, if we've reached the alpha dom conversation, I'm going to say good night.
That's how you get sponsors.
You gotta get sponsors from Alpha Dom because he has a course.
This was fun though.
$100 you can learn how to be misogynist.
Alpha Dom, we'll tell you who begot who.
Oh my god, he's the worst.
Absolutely.
He's the worst because he's
I gotta go. I gotta wrap this up for myself. So if you guys want to hang out, that's fine. But I
do need to go myself too.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you guys all coming on. I had fun talking about this. I'm so FOMO about the AA con going on, and I can't go. And you guys,
we could have been doing this in Philadelphia.
I know. And I miss all my friends that I don't get to say hello to. So there were so many great people. If you're looking for a replacement for religion, why not Atheist Con? Come on. Anyway,
we were talking about at the beginning of the show, Anonymous. You missed it.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
It was the theme of the show. So
yeah.
Thanks
for having me.
Thanks, Chad, for coming on. You're welcome anytime. We just do this. So, anytime you want to hang out.
To pop in. You want to tell people where to find you before you leave, please?
Yeah.
I'm Archradish on TikTok for as long as we have that, and then on Instagram, and anytime you see Archradish on the internet, it's probably me. It's just Chad Harris mixed up. That's the whole story behind that name.
Go see him on the documentary. It's Shiny Happy People. That's the.
Yep.
I should have brought it up. I'm sorry. But yeah, you'll see him on there.
Go to Amazon and type in Shiny Happy People, and there it is.
There you go.
Type in Shiny Happy People on your GIF search bar, and I pop up. It's kind of weird, actually.
No way. Are you kidding?
Yeah, kid you not.
Right now.
You don't elevated to godlike status now.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Once you reach the gift status, that's the other place.
That's
outside of this place.
That's a whole nother level. That's God level. You just reached God level.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look for this. All right. Thanks everybody for coming. Have a great night.
Y'all.
We'll talk about something else next week. Thanks for supporting. Have a good night.
We'll see you next week. Bye.
Oh, he's gone.
It was like 5 minutes.
Oh.
See you later.
Well,